that so blazing.
Chapel on the fucking track.
Protea, the frame that stole cannons off of tanks from World War II and infused it with napalm, just because she could. This frame is amazing for Steel Path. She has a fine mixture of survivability and crazy damage. Today, I'm going to show you how to play and build this frame. But, per usual, showing love is free. Drop a like, leave a comment on what you think and what can be changed about the video. Also, feel free to drop a subscription. I try my best to provide you with content every other Friday, which is like bi-weekly. So, look out for those. Turn on your post notifications so that way you can always see when I post. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into Protea's abilities. Alright, so to start we have her passive. With this, it increases her ability strength by 100% on every 4th ability cast. Meaning every 4th ability you cast, you're granted another 100% power strength. This ability or this passive is really great because each and every single one of these gets 100% power strength stacked on top of it, which is amazing. So next we have our grenade fan, which does two things. If we tap the ability, Protea will throw out fans that deal slash damage in a 5-meter radius. These fans also stagger enemies, giving you time to get in some extra damage. These are going to be one of the primary abilities you use to slow down enemies and just gain some CC. With the next part of this ability, it allows you to hold the ability and activate shield satellites. With this ability cast, you will throw out orbs that are, when picked up, regenerate shields, and if you have max shields, they actually grant overshield. Now if a satellite is destroyed, it will slightly increase your shield gate period, which allows you to cast the ability again, preventing death. So this is what I meant earlier by she has some pretty great survivability. You can definitely take advantage of this and stay alive for quite a while. Alright, so our second ability is called Blaze Artillery. With this, it allows us to spawn 2 cannons that shoot heat damage, and with each hit they increase in strength. These things do massive damage and are extremely important to the build. I want to say they're like the #1 ability that we're going to be using on top of Temporal Anchor, which I'll explain this shortly. Our third ability is called Dispensary, and with this it allows us to spawn ammo, health, and energy. It's a pretty simple ability that we are actually going to be swapping out for something better in my opinion. But with this ability, it does give you increased chances of picking up health, energy, and ammo. So instead of 25 health or 25 energy, it gives you 50. And then lastly, we have Temporal Anchor. With this, Protea rewinds time and allows us to spam abilities depending on our energy amount and health amount at that time. The reason why I say that is because it really doesn't grant you max energy or anything once it's activated. And if you don't have max energy or health prior to the ability, you will be returned back to whatever you had before starting or activating the ability. So say for example, we started off with 200 energy and the ability uses 100. Well, you automatically lose that 100 energy. And if you pick up orbs while Temporal Anchor is active, once it expires, you'll go back to that 100 energy that you started with. And that same concept applies to the health, armor, shield, whatever you had prior. Now, if you die while the ability is active, you automatically get rewinded back to the position where you started when the ability was activated and you get knocked down. It saves you, but you can be killed fast once you're knocked down on the ground. As you know, I hate being knocked down, so it's a curse with this ability apparently. Now with my build, I wanted to maximize the heat damage from cannons and the other ability that we swapped out the dispensary for. That is going to be Thermal Slaughter. Basically with this ability, we're able to proc heat damage and cold damage at the same time. I'm going to show you why we want this. Let's jump into the mods first though. So to start, we're running Dreamer's Bomb because it gives energy and health regen, and honestly I have changed the polarity. I haven't changed the polarity, so it's just there. Kind of lazy. Next we're going to be running Prime Continuity, which that's going to increase our duration of every ability. We mainly want this for the cannons so that they stay longer. Next we have Umbral Intensify, as well as Blind Rage. What this basically does is increases our power strength. One thing that I honestly would recommend is swapping Blind Rage out for a range mod, whether that's like stretch, overextended, or whatever. Adding red shards that increase power strength. That way you also don't get hit with negative efficiency, which kind of sucks. Alright, so next we're going to be running Arcane Vitality. This mod is actually like necessary, like you cannot go without this. Basically what this does is it gives us additional health, and whenever we use an ability that causes heat damage, it will apply that said damage twice. So we get to double dip and damage like fun dip. Who remember those things, man? I haven't had those since I was a kid. Now, we're also going to be running Equilibrium. I always seem to put this on every build, but basically what it does is it allows us to get energy from health orbs and health from energy orbs. So they just go vice versa. Now, the next mod we're going to be running is actually Temporal Anchor. Temporal Artillery. Basically what this allows us to do is whenever we activate Temporal Anchor, it attaches the artillery cannon above our head. Now this is amazing because it lasts for 3 seconds. Normally, the cannons normally last for 3 seconds, but with this ability active, or this augment thrown on here, it lasts for the entire duration of Temporal Anchor. Now it is also capped out at 20 times damage, which isn't horrible. And with Arcane Vitality, these things are gonna shred. The cannons are gonna go crazy. Now our next mod is gonna be for Thermosunder. This provides additional heat and cold damage by 75% when you use the ability. It's important to understand that when you use it, it has two functions. There is cold damage, which when you activate by tapping, and then there's heat damage, which you activate by holding. These provide their own instance of damage, meaning they don't mix with weapon damage. So if you have viral on there, it'll still be it'll become its own instance of damage. But they do mix when you go ahead and like use both of them. So say I procced cold and then I held down the button again and procced heat. Well, that's going to cause them to mix, and that creates blast damage. And if you watch my last video on Excalibur, we know blast damage is amazing with the right build. Now, last mod that we're going to be running is Prime Flow, and this is just for maxing out our energy or getting as most as we can. As far as our arcanes, I wanted to max out on my power strength as much as possible, so I went with Molt Augmented, which basically on kill gives us 0.24% power strength. I think that equates to about 30 or 60 additional power strength. And then Arcane Adventure. Basically what this does, and whenever we're damaged, we get a 21% chance for increased critical chance for up to 12 seconds. Our rate right now is 45% because we have a maxed out Arcane. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys some quick gameplay. This build really works for any faction. It doesn't matter if it's Corpus, Infested, Grineer. As long as you got the right weapons, it works perfectly fine. So just sit back and enjoy the show.
Look back here, hello.
Marco, run that shit up.